Hello and welcome back, YouTube. So I'm in a driver's door open and transmission not in P. Risk of vehicle rolling away. That was an unexpected alarm. So as I was saying, I'm in a Mercedes electric vehicle. It's an EQS, like a crossover wagon thing. They're pretty nice vehicles. The one thing I don't like about them, like most every other Mercedes, they've got lumbar support in the seat, and people just leave that in the most obnoxious positions where it just feels like somebody's shoving something into my back. And the controls for them, I don't find it intuitive at all. It seems like I try to pull the thing out of my back and it just shoves another thing in my back in a different place. If there was a feature, like one feature I could remove from every car in the world with a single pin stroke, it would be lumbar support. I just realized I'm going the wrong way with this one. This one is marked as a maintenance car, even though technically it isn't. They wrote "do not rent," and in the date it says low battery and the battery percentage. And when I see them like this, and I've encountered this before. The first time I got one, I thought, well, maybe it's a maintenance issue because I had it in the maintenance line and marked like a maintenance vehicle. And then I put it in the maintenance line, and it wasn't too long until somebody just scraped everything off the window and had the trunk flip. And I think what happens when they get marked like this, and it's marked on the windshield too, which is odd. I think what happens is when they get marked like this, is that somebody put it in a stall to rent without charging the battery. Yeah, I think it says, hang on, let me pop out and take a look. Having trouble reading the bad handwriting backwards. It says low battery, 25%. I think when I see these in the maintenance line like this, it's a result of somebody who's not paying attention, putting it into a stall for rent, and the person going to rent it. Driver's door open and transmission not in P. I wonder why this door's so difficult to close to the point it believes it's closed. I think it's a result of somebody not paying attention and putting it out in a stall to rent, and then the renter getting in the car and then coming right back and going, yeah, I'm not taking this car. Its battery's at 25%. Anyway, since that first one that I put in the maintenance line and then it getting immediately kicked out and realizing that just created extra work for no reason, what I've been doing when I get these is I just put them where all the incoming newly returned rental electric vehicles go, and then I scrape everything off the windows except for the battery percentage. And I don't understand why they're treating them differently on the return end. And I should maybe talk to somebody about that, but yeah, communication of these little workflow issues it's not good here. I've just found the best thing I can do is just kind of pay attention to what's happening and kind of make my own procedures like this. Nobody ever told me to treat them like this. I just have been treating them like this, and it seems to get them turned around faster. On a brighter note, getting in this, when I sat down in it and turned it on, it was already in the in the charge settings screen. So I was able to mess with that and finally figure out how to set the maximum charging amount on these cars. This is one of two recently added electric vehicles to our electric vehicle fleet here at Hertz. This, and we've got a Volvo wagon now, where I haven't been able to figure out how to do that. Actually, I think in the Volvo wagon I figured out how to set the maximum charge level. The computer screens and everything on that are really, really similar to the Polestars, and I've been messing with the Polestars since I first started doing EVs here. But the Benz, it's its own thing, and it was a little awkward to get to that screen, but I did get to it. Anyway, I need to scrape these windows and get my ass back to work, but I just thought I'd share the adventure here. It looks like I'm 100% running on my own again on a Sunday. I really didn't expect the new guy that was with me on Thursday to be here to help me. Not only because it's Sunday, and usually when they hire people, they end up not working on Sundays, but other issues with him, which I don't think I really touched on Like, I sort of mentioned it in some recent vlogs, but I didn't explain how problematic that guy is. I question if he's still working here, but I'm going to tell that story later, hopefully before the end of my shift. Hello and welcome back, YouTube. So, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna. Oh, that's even worse. How about this? How about that? Oh no, that's terrible as well. This. There we go. That's a great view. It probably won't stay a great view, but so I just got out of the Mercedes. Just gotten into the next vehicle, which is a Lincoln Navigator. I'm trying to figure out where the hell the seat controls are on this thing. I've noticed some of the more expensive luxury vehicles put the seat controls on the driver door, and I don't find that anywhere near as handy and intuitive as when they just put the seat controls down to the left on the side of the seat. Like, even when I can see these controls, I find them more awkward to work than, I'm getting jammed in the back. I'm reaching down, I don't see any kind of lumbar support controls. I don't know, it's just poking me in the back. Did it not start it? Okay, I'm started. Yikes, it's blowing hot. That's blowing air on me. That never does me well. Post Malone. I can hang with Post Malone. So yeah, Lincoln Navigator, extra luxurious, oversized killing machine. Not fond of these at all. To me, a luxury SUV is just something that should not be. If you need a sport utility vehicle, you need something to go off-road and do that sort of thing. And if you need a luxury vehicle, you should be in a luxurious sedan, like a Lincoln Town Car. This to me is just something that shouldn't be blended. But there's a market demand for these. People seem to like them. I find them atrocious because these are in that class of vehicles that has been largely contributing to pedestrian deaths. And statistically, the pedestrians that get killed the most by the people that drive these sort of things are their own children in their own driveways. Well, maybe not killed, but injured. Well, there's only one car sitting in the maintenance line. I may have got all the maintenance vehicles out of the Hertz return area, which is saying something because there's a ton of vehicles in the Hertz return area. There's somebody driving a Shelby that I don't think is one of the people that are allowed to drive the Shelby. I've had a few people tell me that I should talk to Barry about that. I'm like, no, I'm just refusing to drive it, just to spite them. Anyway, I just put this in flip lane. I'm not even trying to figure out what goes where and sort them. I'm just taking everything to the flip lane right now. Although I think at this point I'm going to walk across just to get an idea of what are all, how many cars are in what sections. A lot of returns coming in today as per usual for Sunday. So, but yeah, I think I'm going to walk across, see if I can see my baby owl. Well, it's kind of early for it to be out. And just get an idea of what's out in what vehicle, what's out in what sections, and see what the return line is like on dollar. At this point, I haven't had any kind of supervision talk to me since I clocked in a little bit. I think I clocked in at like 4:02. So. I like the days where I can just work and be left alone, but I really would have liked to have had some help today. When I got in, it showed that Andre had been here. I think he clocked out at 3:30, which is usual, so of course I missed him. And Kali was still here. I did see a Kali a couple times, so I didn't talk to him. So it was really weird talking to Kali. It's like the lights are on and no one's home. Alright, I'm in kind of a full size, well, not full size, I guess like a mid size, still a huge, it used to be full size, Ford SUV. Right next to the office on the back side of the Hertz office by the what they call the Ultimate Chargers. As I said at the end of the last little segment, I was kind of walking through to get an idea of what's going on in the different sections. Ultimate's pretty much full up, and I went by Electric Reserved, and the Chargers over by Electric Reserved there was a woman whom I've never met. I think she's a recent hire. In an MLS vest that was servicing those Chargers. Now, I do believe I saw the Angry Elf training her at some point last week. Wow, I just noticed some interesting alignment in the building above me that I can see through the ceiling right here that I never noticed before. I'm right on the corner of Ultimate, and a little turning left into the little row that separates Ultimate and Gold and 3 from Reserved. Anyway, I saw her working the Chargers there. I expected on a Sunday the only person to be working EVs would be the kid who I don't know why I want to call him Poindexter. I know I've been told his name. Maybe it's Sheldon. Yeah, it's about as bad as Poindexter. Well, yeah, apparently she's on that. Which is fine. I'm not really trying to work on EVs, any more than what I need to today. But yeah, I expected to maybe see him in there. I didn't expect to see her in there. So I don't know if they've got her on her own working on EVs at this point or not. And maybe I should have gone over and talked to her, but nobody's introduced me to her and I don't know her, so I feel kind of uncomfortable going up and talking to her. So this vehicle, I saw 2 managers, one of which I've talked to quite a bit, the other one I don't think I've ever talked to, in the middle of some kind of seemed important discussion, trying to solve something that didn't honestly sound particularly important. And I saw this vehicle with the window marked like it's a maintenance vehicle. And it's got the date and it says on right. That's the only words. This is on right. And I'm thinking, okay, what on right? And I'm thinking, okay, probably some kind of body damage. So I go to the right side and I look over the right side and there's no visible body damage. So I walk around to the driver's side just to check. And I think what I did is just found some more evidence of people here that don't know their right from their left. Because on the left side, on the passenger door, somebody keyed the shit out of the door. And it's all scratched up. And it's obvious vandalism. It's not something that happened in an accident. Anyway, that sort of thing frustrates me. But I guess that's part of living in the broken society that we live in these days. Anyway, it felt awkward trying to interrupt those 2 managers having their conversation, but I asked them if either of them was using this, because sometimes the managers will use shop cars and body damaged cars as their shags, as their transportation vehicles while they're working. So I asked if either of them was using it or if I needed to move it to maintenance, and one of them told me to go ahead and move it to maintenance. So I went ahead and added with my pen, I wrote BD for body damage and keyed on driver rear door, since the words on right don't really explain anything. I know the guy that goes through the body damage cars. I don't know his name, but I talk to him on occasion, so I'm sure he'll appreciate me being a little more specific on the window when he comes up to deal with this car, or this SUV. I'm curious what it is. It's like a mid-size Ford. It's big. Well, it's just a little bit smaller, I think, than Navigator. It's ridiculous how many different SUVs Ford has. Like back in the day, you had the Bronco, and that was enough. But yeah, I can tell from the dash, it's not an Explorer, because God knows I moved so many of those last week. Yeah, that's how they marked it. On right. And there's the damage. It's just obvious it's been keyed. It's pretty fucked up. It's a Ford Edge. Edge Titanium. AWD, which I think stands for all-wheel drive. Oh, this is one I brought here earlier. BD right front door. Yeah, the issue with the right front door, I might explain that later, but damage on the right front door looks like it was a result of poor workmanship by our body shop. So I really hope the customer doesn't get charged for it. I looked at the screen, or not the screen, I'm sorry, I looked at the incident report, and they said that it was like that when they got that, and I believe them. Anyway, I'm headed into the shop. My knife has finally given up the ghost. It's come separated on one side, the welds on it have, so it's not holding the blade very safely. I'm just going to go get me a new one. Hello again, YouTube. So I'm in a Nissan Armada now, which is Nissan's entry into the giant killing machine style SUVs. They're pretty luxurious too. So I wasn't even going for this. I was just in the washed vehicles looking for something to drive up to the maintenance lines. Wasn't expecting to find a maintenance vehicle. I'm just trying to find something that's not soaking wet, that's ready to pull out and go up. And I noticed that this one had the wipers flipped up, which generally speaking is indicative of missing keys, but the keys are sitting right on the dashboard. So I thought, well, that's weird. And I walked around the vehicle to the passenger side, and often with vehicles right after they're washed, I need to flip the flip the mirrors into place, because most of the mirrors these days are designed to fold in, and they'll get folded in when they go through the car wash. But the car wash people can't be bothered to fold them back out when they park them. So that kind of falls on whoever moves them. And if I'm walking down a line of cars that are clean cars, everyone I pass, I'll usually flip the mirror, just so it's one less thing the next driver has to worry about, or one less thing the next driver will forget to do. Anyway, I go to check the mirror and see if it needs flipped on the passenger side, and it's hanging by this wire like that. I'm like, oh, well, that's a problem. Anyway, I had to use my house key. It was a little tricky to undo the one wire that was still connected. There were other wires that were connected. Apparently, they just came apart. But yeah, the main wire that was dangling by was quite firmly connected. And it took me a while to figure out how to get that apart. I didn't want to just drive it with it dangling like that, because I figured that would damage it more. It looks like it's heated glass. You know, the kind where if it's, there's snow or condensation or whatever on it, you can hit a button somewhere in the car that will clear it, defrost it. And that's a nice feature. I mean, it seems like kind of a necessary feature, but it's a nice feature when it works. Anyway, not trying to destroy, trying to save as many parts as I can around here. So undid that, brought it inside, and marked the window with what the issue is. I'm kind of surprised that because I would imagine it was one of the car washers that put it there. I'm surprised when then again, come to think of it, it's very possible that the car washer didn't notice it when they put it out. I mean, why would they notice the rearview mirror, right? When they don't even bother to flip them in the direction that they're supposed to be, where they can see who's behind them when they're driving. So my guess is probably another up-down driver, maybe a lead, saw the mirror was messed up, and rather than taking it up and putting it out to rent, just didn't have a marker, doesn't know how to mark them, and flipped up the wipers as some kind of an indication there was a problem. Anyway, good thing I noticed it. So at least I got it here into the pink shop line where somebody can take care of it. Made a point to mark on the window that the mirror is okay. Or I think I wrote glass is okay, inside vehicle. So leave it sitting on the center console, and hopefully they can figure it out. I guess this kind of gets me in the view. Not when I sit back in the driver's seat, though. Oh well. I just put them where I can when I'm shooting video like this, and okay, this fan needs to stop. And it's like blasting cold air on me. And this music needs to stop too. 102.5 KNIX. No, thank you. 100.7. Kind of burned out on this song, but I can hang with it. Oh, and the phone fell down. Yeah, that's not a good spot. How about this? There you go. So I finally made it to the dollar maintenance line. Driving a Kia Forte right now. My mom used to have one, but much older than this one. Yeah, this is a lot different on the inside than the one my mother had. So it's after dark now. There's still kind of sunlight on the horizon, but yeah, the sun has gone down. So of course headlights need to be on. This has got a feature that I wish all new cars had, where when you adjust the headlights and it's on the turn signal, on the end of the turn signal, you turn it. And that's probably the most common way to turn on or turn off headlights at this point in newer cars. But when you do it, it brings up a little thing in the center, in the screen in the center of the dashboard. Mind you, there's just a small screen in the center of this dashboard. Everything else is real gauges, which I appreciate. It brings up a thing to tell you what position you got the light switch in, since when it's dark, the labeling on the light switch is not visible at all. So I like knowing when I get the headlights on, whether I have it on auto or whether I have it on, because I try to always leave them on auto as long as the car has an auto headlight feature. I feel it kind of prevents the next person who drives it at night from driving with their freaking headlights off. So this one, Mark Inspect, and that I know it goes in the shop line. I don't really know what an inspection entails, but the shop's out of stuff to do. I mentioned, not the last video clip, but I think the one before, that I was heading into the shop to get my knife replaced. Talked to Barry. Barry's back. Got me a brand new knife. I wish I had taken a picture of my old one. The thing looked like it was 40 or 50 years old, just from how much the finish on it had tarnished just from being in my sweaty pocket. But you better slow your roll, dude. I was driving like a fucking idiot. Like, how fast do you need to drive in a closed parking lot? Damn. Someone trying to come out of the gatekeeper line. I'm in the gatekeeper line now. I picked this up at the dollar. I'm not sure if I mentioned I picked this up at the dollar maintenance line, which is the first time I've made it at the dollar maintenance line all night, and it's fairly full right now. So I just rolled through here in the van. See about people off at the gate. That's interesting. Anyway, I ended up talking to Barry longer than I probably should have, but we had an interesting conversation. Ever got me my knife. I wish I had taken some pictures of that knife, because man, that knife, just the wear and tear on it from me was pretty extreme. I was hoping to keep using it, but when I scraped the writing out the window of that electric vehicle that was marked like a maintenance vehicle, even though it clearly wasn't. That's what Barry and I were talking about, actually, was how, like, my theory of how that got out, and how just so many people just don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. And how which I explained before, of how I feel it ended up getting marked as maintenance vehicle when it's not. But yeah, I threw the blade away. I wish I could take some pictures of it. The welds on one side had become separated, so it wasn't staying in the lock position, which made it kind of unsafe to use. So I got a brand new one. It's all pretty and shiny. And it'll probably stay that way for a while, because I'm not having massive amounts of sweat in my pocket these days like I was before. Alright, I'm in another Ford Edge. Stand neutral when... It's weird how much text spews up on some of these dashboards. Headlights on. What the hell is that knob? There it is. So the far left is off, the next one is off, the next one turns the headlights on, the next one turns the headlights on. And it's a rotating knob on the left side of the dash. This has got a rotating knob for shifting gears on it too, and a vertical screen. I think on all of those, it doesn't have an on-screen indicator indicating which of the two on positions is the auto, but I think in these style Fords, it's the position, the second one, where it's all the way to the right. Hopefully there's enough light when I park it I can see what the issue with that is. I haven't really been saying the time of these little short videos. It's 6:20 p.m. Sun is down now. Since the last one, I've been pretty busy on the maintenance yard, moving vehicles off the gatekeeper, and the car washers are bringing them up as quickly as I can move them, and then of course misdiagnosing them as well. There was one I got into, and if I can see him, like, I'll ask him what the issue is. It saves me some time. And he's like, tire light. You can tell the guy didn't speak much English, but he was able to say something that sounded more or less like tire light. Oh, by the way, this vehicle has 6,700 miles on it, so I'm taking it directly to PC. Mostly because I need to get my ass over to the maintenance line at Dollar. It was pretty full when I left it, and it's been a while since I last left it in the Kia Forte. So, yeah, the one he said Firelight, it was a tire light, a really hard to understand accent. And yeah, obviously not the brightest car washer because he left his towel in the passenger seat. But I'm over in PC now trying to figure out where I'm going to park this. I think I see a spot I can get into easily. Oh, nope. Nope. I always like when I can just drive in from the backside of the spot and not have to deal with backing into a parking spot. But here's the spot I can do that in. Yay. Backing large SUVs and crossovers into parking spot is not my idea of a good time. Anyway, Lincoln Navigator, speaking of ridiculously large crossovers and SUVs, it was another Lincoln Navigator. And when I got in it was giving me a warning that the liftgate was open. And I went to the back, and the liftgate seemed to be securely closed. I hit the button and let it. Those things are electronic, so I shut it. There's my slip. I let it do its cycle and open, and then I hit the button to let it do its cycle and close, and it seemed like it was latching, but then I got in and it still was giving me warnings that the liftgate was open. So that's more important than a tire light. So I marked that issue on the window and moved it to the shop line. Anyway, I got this part. I need to get it logged into the system, and I need to check the SUV that's directly across from me because it has its headlights on, and I'm just thinking, mine have already shut off, so I did correctly assume how to put it on the auto position. But apparently, the person who parked this SUV directly across from me in PC didn't check the headlight position and left the headlights on. Yeah, this is how we end up with dead batteries.